All right. Welcome, everyone, as I frantically move pictures around.
Everyone disconnect and reconnect. Go.
I will slap everyone through the screen. Well, welcome to Roll for Insight, our sort of little open source discussion panel of sessions recent and much prior, where everyone gets to talk and ask questions candidly between players and DM, and we get to sort of just get an insight as to decisions that were made, what characters or players may be going through that differ from the other thing. And we just get to have some fun. We usually have a set amount of questions at the beginning for certain individuals who might be joining us, and then we sort of flow into regular discussion and let it go from there. We also are open to questions from chat. Usually Roll for Insights taken care of by me and Polly, but Polly is under the weather tonight. So get better, Polly. I'm sure he'll be either stopping in chat or checking in on us later. But tonight we have the glorious Nori, Amrik, and Kaporin. All those seemingly sort of involved with some of the stuff that happened last night. Some more than others, but nevertheless, work was taken off for tonight. So that's a good indication of some shenaniganry that happened. If anyone's here,
I'm honestly impressed by.
If anyone who's here didn't see the session last night, go watch the VOD, because especially like the last half hour, that's when
Pure chaos of the finest delicacy.
I mean,
I'm just sitting there.
My character sheet was erased and rewritten like 3 times, so
In 20 minutes.
In 20 minutes.
I
And
am
it's
nothing but efficient.
2:30 in the morning for me. So
I'm nothing but efficient when it comes to fuckery. But nevertheless, welcome, guys. Thank you for stepping in tonight and being here for some conversations. But since I am the host for tonight, I get to ask questions of you first before the tables get turned and you can ask questions of me. My first question goes to Nori. So obviously, I was privy to the conversation you and Bryn had. And my biggest thing, and it hasn't been able to be seen in session yet, because everything happened so fast. But going from that conversation that you just had with Bryn to what happened to her in the town, like, we're talking, if this is a gauge, that needle just went pop, pop, on the emotional side for Nori, in like, Bryn sort of being the more comforting, like, don't worry type of situation, and then immediately it goes, and you're just like, oh god, see, this is what I mean. Obviously, Bryn's going through something. This is the first time that Nori's really being able to see it. Though she has talked about it in the past, she's never caught the moment it's happened. And this is a different and another level to it. So, for Nori, what is her plan of action? Obviously, we know how she feels. She feels helpless. She feels upset and angry, just like my dog's in the background. But how does what is her immediate plan of action was move the skeleton from the bench. Let's get Bryn sitting down. But with everything that's just happened in front of you and what's going on with Bryn, what's Nori's next plan?
she wants Bryn to do a little bit more explaining, because her reasoning as to what, even the most basic of theories, she's got prophecy bullshit. Are visions a part of that? I don't know. I don't know enough about prophecies. So she's along those lines. She wants to understand, but Bryn doesn't like to use words as much. me as the player wants to try Greater Restoration, but I'm not confident that won't go remarkably south. But for Nori, she's very much in the moment right now because she can't think too far ahead. So right now is, okay, I can move the skeletons. That's what I can do right now.
So my follow-up question then is going to be, since as far as understanding anything, this is outside your scope of what Bryn's been dealing with, and you did bring up the whole prophecy side of things. You do have someone that you could contact pretty close by that Bryn has a connection with that is involved in the prophecy stuff as well, that is, for lack of better terminology, smarter or more experienced than anyone else in your group, that could possibly shed some light, or at least have an insight that may be outside the box enough that you can think of. Would Nori be open to possibly either herself, probably, if she was going to do it, be more comfortable if she could talk to it, but if she can't, having Bryn talk to the mirror?
So, as the player, that is probably the one of the better options we have to figuring out anything. As the character, she trusts the being in that mirror about as far as she can throw it.
10 feet.
And considering it comes back to Bryn, it's not very far.
Yeah, 10 feet. Think it's not.
So-
doesn't feel good if it doesn't go anywhere.
Exactly. So the situation is more of things would probably have to get worse, unfortunately, for me to reasonably have Nori be like, okay, there's no more options. We're going to plan F because
Fuck.
Exactly.
All right, sounds good. My next question, we're gonna get to Amric, but we'll circle the not quite the elephant in the room, but we'll circle around the woolly
Warforged.
mammoth in the room. Kaporin. Obviously,
Hi.
with this new information given to you that your mom's okay, through Bella, and the fact that Bella doesn't seem to be the biggest fan of your father, but also doesn't seem to be the biggest opponent to him either. And the sheer fact that she was obviously having some sort of conversation with your mom face to face, enough for your mom to be like, hey, look out for my son, you know, do this.
Right.
If and the fact, now that you know, that the Archfey of Silver, either Bella has completed her contract with them and was able to get that blade as a reward, or she has had enough strings to pull to get that to come here, means that obviously when she originally told you that she was working for the Archfey of Silver trying to figure out the soul situation, she probably has accomplished a fair deal into that ordeal, at least from the time that she's from. But the sheer fact that she was so close to your mom, and probably your father and your brother for sure, in this other time, physically close, not just emotionally, what does that for Kaporin put into his perspective of maybe, how does he feel about it? Does he feel hopeful that like she gets to become a part of the family? Because Kaporin pretty much left home shortly after getting Bella, like as far as the warlock pacting for it.
Right.
So though your mom knew her and she knew your mom, and you know that obviously in the different timeline you saw that your Bella and your mom got along fucking great, but in this timeline this Kaporin doesn't know that. Are you curious? Are you hopeful? Are you worried? What is Kaporin's feeling on the fact that Bella was so ingrained into your family from that time?
Well, it was really from Kaporn's perspective, it was really hopeful because, like, not only does he know that his family's safe, um, relative term, uh, like Bella on her own somehow reached out or has been in more contact with them, and he's really like, considering that he considers her family at the same time, it brings more peace of mind to him, since he's like, well, if she's even dealing with his father, then it's hopeful that maybe she'll stick around. It at least doesn't sound like she's going anywhere quite quickly in 150 years. So she'll at least be with him for that long, and he really just wants her to stay with him since it's their family now. Yeah, it's just he feels kind of weird. It's like, oh, mom's back with dad. That's kind of like, I didn't have that. Now Tim's there with them. And then she gave him that warning too. So like, don't let Tim be corrupted by your father by being around him all the time. Like, you should go there eventually and kind of stop that. I was just like, oh great, I have to go deal with Tim.
I'm gonna branch this next question out to everyone but Kaporin. With Bella saying that line, specifically since Kaporin has brought it up, what do you think that meant? The line of, don't let Tim get corrupted by your dad by you not being there. That was specifically what she said.
My thought for that would be that since Barnabas is a devil, the whole thing is kind of to have influence, and if he can have this little guy have sway over him, it's useful to him. And I can imagine being around this not great guy all the time would result in not a great kid. But for Kaparin's faults, he does try to do his best, and he does genuinely care about the people around him.
Okay.
So passing that on to Tim is a very good thing. Or at least Tim can learn from Kaparin's mistakes, as younger siblings tend to do.
What about you, Emmerich? What do you think that line from Bella meant?
I'm gonna lean a lot towards that last one, and kind of, because in a similar fashion, I assume it's meant in something as a way of like, you don't want them to be too much like Barnabas. I don't know if I read into it as much, considering that I feel like if it was super important, there may have been more urgency put onto that warning than there kind of felt like there was. But of course, having that role model that shows you exactly what not to do is always not a bad thing.
Kaporin, go ahead and open up Roll20 and roll me a insight check with advantage.
Okay.
Ooh.
Oh, I had rolled.
Since Kaporin got to a very specific line that the reason why I remembered it so well was because I made sure I got the line specifically perfect when I said it. Gives him a chance to possibly look back on things and maybe pull what she meant out of it. Because everyone's answers are good, but not the right one.
Okay. I am insight, advantage, roll.
It's alright. It's Bella.
It's not bad.
So you just have to get over a 10.
Woo!
If you remember when Bella first made her appearance out through the portal, she looked upon Kaporin a certain type of way, with almost tears in her eyes, as if she had not seen you for a long time. Couple that with the line of him growing up without you being there. Do you really think that Kaporin would forsake his family at any context of time? He would always make sure to go back to mom and to brother, even if he forgets the whole reasons why he left in the first place. But regardless, it's probably understandable that in this other timeline, Kaporin did not make it. And Kaporin wasn't there for Tim's.
The perfect timeline.
I did pick up on the tears thing. I'm like, oh, Karen probably dead. But it more of extended to all of us that we're all probably dead.
But now it makes a bit more sense if she was saying that I'm gonna go back to when Kaporin's alive, and your mom saying those lines, and her coming back to this time specifically and making sure things gives you more credence to why she doesn't want things to change from what she knows, and that she would only input and make decisions to guide certain things in a different direction.
Right.
So you probably get the sense that there is something further down the line that she is waiting for to change the outcome of. But come on, you can't be that sad. You died twice, like yesterday. So
I came back. I was. But he 150 years later, he's not back.
Well, you can just simply not be able to come back.
But nevertheless, we'll go ahead and turn to the woolly mammoth. Amric, you had a busy night.
Yeah, I definitely did.
I had prepped for it. I just was not expecting Polly to turn undead the first fucking moment everyone's asleep and not looking at him.
Yeah, my first question of the night was originally going to be what we usually ask you and be like, "What the fuck, Polly?" But
but yeah, because he had retrieved the skulls, I thought for sure he was going to try and talk to the skulls first. Nope. Immediate, turn undead during this magically boosted moment. And I was like, oh. Okay. Yeah, because each one of those spirits that was attached to you was an undead spirit. And most of them failed, and he has a decently high wisdom save too, and they have absolutely they technically have a 0 to their wisdom saves. But I was like, you know what? I'll be nice and give them Amric's wisdom save buff. That didn't go over very well. But so Amric, with the sort of violent upheaval of the entire genetic makeup of your character. You went from being mostly undead to completely undead to strutting your undead self through a town full of skeletons, so you felt right at home. And then you got throat punctured, brain stemmed into becoming a warforged. Now, there's obvious questions that I can ask of how do you feel about that? Do you think, how do you think Amric's gonna talk to his parents about this when he gets home? Like, what does this look like for him? Is it gonna change some things because now he doesn't have the undead thing to worry about? So is he gonna try and follow Racha? You know, I could ask all these things, but my number one question that I want to ask, we can get to all the other ones later. My number one question is, being the second closest person in this group to be not attuned to nature, but being very nature heavy, and all of a sudden going to what amounts to as anti-nature as possible. Is that more of a mindfuck than the mindfuck of when you found out Kaporn was your stepbrother?
You know what? I'm honestly going to say yes. Not because of the shock factor on its own, but in this specific situation, right? Sorry. But we started off with the mindfuck of the hints that Amric's god may currently be in the crosshairs or is already dead. That he woke up in immeasurable pain and suddenly turned into a zombie.
Which I want to interrupt once more. Completely flabbergasted that Amric was having like these epiphanies about the star sky and everything, and everyone's like, "No, I don't know shit, bro." And he's like, "Cool. I'm gonna just deal with this myself then."
Well, my whole plan was I was gonna wait till the morning and he was gonna start praying to Umbros and be like, "Hey, just want to make sure it's okay."
He's
And then all this happened.
Okay, continue.
And now he's a robot. So it wasn't just
Arigato, Mr. Roboto.
it wasn't just the like singular mindfuck of the stepbrother thing, but it was thing after thing after thing, and that's assuming it's even over at this point. Who knows?
True.
Not even close.
You were given a user manual.
And unfortunately, it's not like the books either. It's the folded paper. So when you like hold one paper, it just goes, and you're just like, son of a bitch, and then you flip it over for a different language.
I have a feeling it's just written in IKEA.
Twist arm to attach. Which
It's
way?
It's written
It's like
in Swedish.
it's written. Yeah, it's like written in Sylvan on one side, on the other is common, but it's like poorly translated.
Oh, it's terrible. And there's no pictures. There's two pictures, the beginning and the end.
Push nose
How did
and
we get
left
here?
ear.
Okay.
You're
And as far as all the outcomes could have been from the undead procedure, do you think Warforged is on the better or the worse end of choices?
I mean, ultimately, I guess it's going to be determined by whatever the extra stuff you kind of mentioned ends up being. In terms of pure like stats, technically, while it does get rid of some of his fire stuff, it serves better for, I guess, its paladin nature a little more. From a character perspective, like you mentioned, being more nature in tune, suddenly being made out of metal is not the best. But he'll have to figure that out at a later time once he kind of gets more used to it.
Well, Bella's definitely hanging around to help.
I definitely think it's preferable to being undead, though.
True. I will say that there's a good clarification to it that Bella, obviously, whatever she did to you was from the Archfey of Silver, so like the Archfey isn't going to be doing something perverse to nature, being from the Fey realm, and all metal is natural in some form when it's in ore fashion. So just because it gets refined and then put into other stuff, it feels unnatural, or at least all has to start from the ground somewhere. So there's still an origination connection to Earth, just not biological anymore.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be that bad. I know my first thing is kind of to go to how druids are not allowed to touch metal at all. But
allowed to touch metal, not allowed to wear it.
There you go.
And now he isn't.
Yes.
Now I just want to make all like Warforged druids. They're not allowed to wear metal, but they are metal.
Just that like perpetually having a crisis.
It's a loophole. That's what it is.
It's the circle of midlife crisis.
And that's our new campaign name.
All right, so I'll open it up to you guys if you guys have any burning questions you want to get off right away. If not,
Where
we
the
can go
hell-
to the list that has been provided.
I suppose my first question is it obviously did not last very long, and I suppose it theoretically could happen to someone else. But if you can or are willing to answer, what would have been the changes that Amric would have undergone as an undead?
So some of the easy ones to do there, I would still follow some of the undead rules that D&D has. So as far as you would need sustenance, but you would need to eat as much. It'd be like a once a month type of feasting that you would have to do to maintain. And I would also have you roll on their little table that they have for undead creatures on what you need to eat. So I think on that table there's blood, humanoid meat. I believe brains is on there as well. Brains and organs. And then there's, I think it's a D8 you end up having to roll.
If it was humanoid, that would be a little.
Amric's
Little
amputation
difficult.
on Kaporin's arm and then just regenerate.
We are not. There's barely any meat on my arm. Go for Bryn. She has so much more on her.
This is about sentimental value.
Oh, because you get to eat once a month, you want to make it worth it?
Absolutely.
You've got to do the leg. There's more. There's more there.
Yep.
Just cut off both his legs at the exact same. Amrit cuts off both legs at the exact same time.
Polly gets
Polly
one
casts
leg, Nora
regenerate
gets the
on one thing. Nori casts regenerate on the other limb.
Kaporin's just like, oh my god!
I'm sure Bella would not. Bella and
We
some
get him
people would
drunk
not
off his
stand for
ass.
this.
Bella took care of it as fast as she could, okay?
I'm thankful because I
Um,
could have been a meal,
So that's
and not in the good way.
that's the first thing.
I thought Kaporin would have loved to have the opportunity to joke about being a snack.
But you wouldn't have to worry about air or water. So obviously, either way, this undead Warforged thing happened, that wasn't going to have to be a problem anymore. Beyond that, you would have gained undead fortitude. So when your hit points reach 0, you roll, and if you roll high enough, you don't go to 0. You go to 1 HP. So could have been very beneficial, depending on how you were rolling that night. So probably 9 times out of 10 wouldn't have worked, but
But you never know.
could have been beneficial. Other than that, the main effects would have been, obviously you look undead at that moment in time, so all charisma checks would be done at disadvantage, except for intimidation. Yeah. You'd gain an ability to instill fear on certain people, but that would require you to do some sort of physical mutilation to yourself.
Ugh.
So that's like, ripping off an arm and at something, but at that point in time you would have become modular, and you could, with the right knowledge and everything, pop your arm back into its socket and make it reusable. You
I
could
would love
literally
to-
beat Kaporin to death with your own arm.
Why is that an option?
I'm starting to realize we may have gone down the wrong path.
Beyond that, it would have been some other little things to learn. It would have been more niche just to you specifically, but that's more. Some stuff can still happen in the world, so won't give everything away. But that is some of the more beneficial things that you could have done as an undead.
Okay.
Oh, also, if you would have, when you go to sleep, you, this is a detrimental thing. When you go to sleep, you need to be completely covered. So, imagine vampires in coffins, digging a grave for yourself basically every night to go to sleep. You need to be completely.
We can't just get a big like a weighted blanket and lay it on
No,
top
no,
of
that
him.
does not work.
Aw.
Put him in a Ziploc bag.
He's got to be completely sealed, and in
Ziploc
something.
bag.
But it's got to have dirt.
So that would make something like a dungeon absolute nightmarish. If it
Dungeon would be
does.
okay. It needs, you need to have dirt on you. You need to have dirt in a ceiling of some sort. For the undead side of things, like vampire coffins, they have a layer of their burial dirt on the bottom. It's sort of just a lore thing to go on, but what it does, it stops you from desiccating. And you would have had a lot of problems with underwater stuff in the sea. If it was just regular water, you're fine.
Amric's just melting away in the ocean.
He becomes
It's more of the
Skelly
salt than the water being a problem. The salt would just affect him and make all of his movement even further halved.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What if he had less movement? That sentence didn't make sense.
Wouldn't he have less movement? Yes. He'd have less movement.
Okay.
He'd be Polly in the ocean.
So it'd be
No,
his
I meant
movement
like in
halved.
general.
No, he'd have the same movement.
Ah.
Luckily, he's tall. He doesn't have a limp yet. But yeah, so that was another big detrimental thing is, you need to make sure you figure out your sleeping arrangements. Obviously, if you guys are just traveling and you got dirt, just dig a little trench and fill yourself in.
It would be hilarious just to watch Amric toss him into a trench every night. Take a dirt nap.
It's like Billy from Hocus Pocus.
And it's like in the morning, it's like full like horror movie, like hand through the dirt.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
Every
like
time.
instead of a cockle doodle doo, we would have gotten just horrible.
Rick Porn would sleep a good 20 feet away from the disturbed earth.
But yeah, so you'll get to learn some of the boons, bonuses, and detriments of being Warforged as I make it available to you. I'm going to go over it a couple more times before myself editing and re-editing before I make it available to you. I should have it done and ready to you at least by Tuesday.
How does
Oh,
a
I-
Warforged swim?
They don't.
Very carefully. You just sink.
Yeah.
He
Become an
does,
anchor.
as a Warforged, he does not have to worry about having to hold any weights to get down to the bottom. And he also does not have to worry about oxygen.
Yeah, it'd just be like swimming from one place to another. That'd be. It's like a
There-
hippo. Hippos can't
There's no swimming. I will meet you guys back on the shore after I walk.
I can cast water walk.
So this is perfect. We go back to that beach with
No.
back to that beach with all of the ships underneath the ocean, and we'll just send Amric to go look through all.
And what you do is you guys set a long line down, and Amric holds on to it, and you guys are just on this little raft, and he'll just walk you to the next continent.
I hate that has a potential of work.
Yeah, yeah, it does. As long as the waves don't get too crazy, yeah.
See, now Nori can't complain about being the only taxi.
Yay, I have a taxi buddy.
We have a very slow water taxi.
Hey, it's reliable. Any other questions?
One question in regards to Warforged that's just more of kind of silly. So, can Amric drink, or is he forbidden
Yes.
now?
No,
Okay.
he can, but he can't have a lot.
Mm.
So you can still drink, and the way that the Warforged work, you process different energy inside. So it's more of
Like stoking a fire kind of thing?
no. If he's going to drink, especially if he wants to drink to get drunk, he's just got to go with shots rather than trying to down a bunch of ale. The compartment for him to hold liquid inside is only so large and useful before it's just going to backfill. So I'd say he could probably down about 20 shots before he's full.
Yeah, I only asked that because I know that Amric usually needs a drink after traveling with Coparin for a while.
Yeah. 20 shots would equal about two mugs of ale, so he could still have drinks.
Good thing we're not doing that the Bard off right now.
Yeah. I was gonna kind of ask, and that kind of feeds into it. So in this world, Warforged aren't really flavored like robots. I'm guessing they're just humanoids that work differently.
They originated as well, because I can't give too much away because you're the first in this world, and that's gonna lead to some change as to their origination.
Just say, I'm gonna end up in a lab dissected. I figured it out. I already know.
I'll say that you're not fresh cut grass, but you're not a human.
Can he be healed?
Gotta try.
Gotta mend him.
But like I said,
Helpful.
every descriptor that I gave of him, skin tone, veins were like wires. It seems he's more on the humanoid side of things than on the construct side of things.
Last question. I don't remember if you answered this last night, technically. Being a Warforged made out of this metal or iron from sorry, I'm blanking on the word, from the source that it's from, am I technically inherently magical now?
You'd have to test, but since your body was created magically, you would have a layer to your physical being that is magical, but that's not too far off from the magical people in your group.
Oh, wow. I just want to make sure, like, I'm not going to get murdered the next time someone casts a spell magic.
No. You're not that magical, but you are magical in the same sense of, like, the spellcasters in the group. You still have the magic flowing through you.
Okay.
And you're still able to tap on the blanket of magic, just like the spellcasters.
Instead of scissors for Nori's dispel magic, it's wire cutters. Going nipping around Amric, that'd be hilarious.
I wouldn't do that. I like Amric. Maybe to compare. Joking. Completely joking. I wouldn't do that to you.
Well, maybe a little bit. Anyway. Any other questions?
Where the hell did Bella go? Why was she gone for half an hour?
You gotta ask her, man.
It's so
That
funny.
is a brain
I was
question.
gone for half an hour.
Why were you gone?
She has a life outside
She
of you.
has stuff to do, man. She's got places to go, people to see, things to do.
She's a busy woman.
Warren has been jealous because she has not been hanging out with him as much as she used.
Yeah, back when she was a Pact of the Chain familiar, of course she's not gonna hang out with you as much.
No,
She's free.
she's jelly.
Suck it up, Buttercup.
Selfish. But yeah, I mean, she's with you guys as much as she needs to be during the day. And so at night, when she has a chance to do some stuff on her own, she's gonna take it. And pixies, or at least in my world, pixies have a version of trance that they only need to sleep for an hour and they're done. So when you guys are sleeping, that's the time. And to be fair, she's always done this. You've just never known. Bella always wanders off when you go to bed.
Good for her.
And if she needs to, if she's in a confined space where she can't get in or out, she'll polymorph her ass into something small to get out of places. Why do you think she holds on to her spells and she doesn't use it? Because she's like, if I want to do something later, I need it.
Interesting. Kaporan probably still hasn't noticed that.
Nope. Well, I mean, now he probably has a little bit of understanding of, like, she just disappeared at some point and then reappeared going, what the fuck? She was so expecting just to see a dead Amric under there.
I'm so glad that I know I can get a future in a crime scene crater.
She saw the blood everywhere. She's like, it's all coming from one location. There's not enough glitter in a hair for it to have been Kaporan. So it's got to be Amric. And then she's just like, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh. The fuck is there a hammer here? She thought she was getting punked. She was looking for Ashton.
Ta-da! I'm great at my job.
And then she heard you cry, and she was like, "Yep, that tracks."
I was told to shut up after I said that line too.
Any other questions? What should we?
Yeah, this is one of Bryn's questions, but so how long has this been planned? I've been undead for a while, and clearly this isn't something that could have happened until after this most recent dungeon, since Bella wouldn't have had that silver thing. Was this something that you kind of just put into place as a possibility recently, or was this something you kind of always had the idea of eventually having happen?
Some of that answer is going to have to be a conversation to be had with Bella. But I will say that there were other forces at play trying to not only take your undeadness away, but to further your undeadness. There was movers
Name
and
was Kaporan.
pushers. So, the sheer fact that Bella, nothing had happened up until the point that Bella came back, led to the fact that you were most likely going to get cured of one of two ways, rather than the undead thing becoming permanent.
Okay. I guess follow-up question. So, with the way things were going, assuming that Kaporan and Polly didn't tag team to speedrun my path to undeadness, would it have just been like a gradual, it's getting cured thing?
You mean what Bella was doing, or just in general?
No, just in general. Like,
no, in general, you're going the other way. Yeah, those spirits were constantly trying to tear at your soul, and so they were slowly dragging you towards undeadness. And since you were so far gone, they were having a more profound effect on it. So I believe I had the number up to 0.5% a day. They were going to make you undead, but we just didn't really have to deal with that too much. So yeah, it was gonna go in that direction. Obviously, it's that tipping point of once you got to halfway, then they sort of steamrolled. But you were more than half undead by the time you came out, because they were the things that, to get the lore behind it, you'll have to talk to Bella. But they were the things that made you undead in the first place.
What effect did the dreams have on things? I know we kind of started exploring that dream space, and the first time I really went
that
into
is still in play.
Okay.
On a
That is not
slightly
an
sillier
undead
note,
thing.
that's just an Amric.
Interesting.
that bodes well. Bodes very well.
Mhm.
Especially because Bryn, Amric, and Polly are all connected, apparently.
Mm.
Can we ask why? Or is that... And why is it not... Why is it not the half-elves?
Because we're cool.
I'm not complaining about it, but I'm curious.
That's more of trying to... If you guys want those answers, you have to go down the poly rabbit hole and try and figure it out. I mean, there's some things that the answers are there, and all they need to be do is pried into a little bit, but unfortunately the people that have a lot of the shit going on, i.e. Polly, Bryn, and Ori, are also the number one peoples that are like, yo, get the fuck out of my shit, leave me alone, and we'll walk away. So, except for Bryn and Nori, they'll talk to each other, but anybody else, it's like, fuck you guys, and go
I'm
and
hearing
walk
it's
away.
Kaporin's job to figure this out.
There's not a ton... There's quite a few conversations that Bryn and Nori have had on their own, just because Bryn won't talk about that stuff with anyone else, and Nori feels most comfortable talking about stuff with Bryn. I'm gonna wait till Amrit comes back for this next question, because I feel like he'd want to know that. Or
Yeah.
would he care?
Well,
I don't know. I just want to ask why mustache?
Because I drew it in.
yeah, he drew it in before he came out of the statue form.
I took the time to go walk over and draw in a mustache and come back and explain to Bryn why the portal's here. And I was just like, cool.
It gave him more of a mustache by doing that.
Yep.
So why did he have like little peach fuzz though?
Because it was only ink. It wasn't like, Kaporin.
Were you just drawing on his face the entire time?
Yeah, he walked over and
After
drew
we
a
killed the
mustache.
beholder, yeah.
He didn't kill the
I drew a
beholder, the
mustache.
beholder left.
Oh,
After the beholder
left.
dipped,
yeah.
you
I
were
was
just
just like-
drawing it on?
I was like, fine. Okay, I'm going to take the moment to fuck with him, and walked over and I drew on a mustache. And
That's
he liked it.
hysterical.
But to clarify something for you, Nori, I sort of misspoke. It's not only the fact that you guys are fuck anyone else when they try to talk about my problems. It's more of my problems aren't worth dragging everyone else down. We'll
There we
deal
go.
with them later. And that
Kaporin's
whole
here to help.
pushing it down and pushing it away and not making it a priority to deal with ends up leading to things like fractured minds and weird bloody rogues with chains and mental breakdowns on the edge of forests.
So essentially, we're dealing with their demons, and they just don't want to deal with it.
They're trying hard real close to keep that closet door closed, and those
No,
skeletons
their
back
demons
there
are
just
following down the street, and they're convinced that there's a Comic-Con meeting happening down the street.
Exactly.
I got my 3-day ticket.
I think for Nori, it's just the sort of like she wants to be okay. She doesn't know how to be okay.
You have your BFF right here that you could talk to, and he always is here to give you love and attention, but
I think
She knows that you'll give. She knows she could like turn to you for comfort and stuff. She just knows you wouldn't know how to help. She doesn't know how to get help for what she knows she needs help. She doesn't know where to turn to for it, because the people that could potentially do things are really fucking busy.
if Kaporin is good for one thing, he is the most charismatic, and he will sit there and talk and until a solution pops into your head.
usually that's where Amric's amputation services come into play. I'm just talking like one of the party men. But Nori, I also think it has to do with the fact that Nori, just going back to her backstory, she had everything, had it all taken away from her, and that was her main problem to begin with. Only had one person that she dealt with, who didn't want anything to do with her, at least she thought so, right away, and had to bug her into teaching her stuff. And beyond just herself and her mentor, she had nothing or no one else to worry about or care for her. And now she's got so many other people, this group, your family, your brother, Tiva, and...
Within the last, 3 years, I went from 0 to 60.
Exactly. And so now you have all this to lose. And so, dealing... It's like Nori sees her problems as superficial, maybe not worth it, like not actual problems.
Yeah.
And so she just is like, I can deal with that later. Let me deal with my wife. Let me get her through her stuff.
That is exactly what is happening.
Yeah. Yeah. Good old psychology.
Yeah.
Man, a psychiatrist would make a killing on this party.
Really. It just, all of our gold, just yep. They just, all of it.
Any other questions? And we clarified for you, Amric, that the reason why you had a mustache there for a while was because Kaporin drew it on when you were a statue. I think I told you that, but I was just clarifying for Nori.
'Cause I didn't know, and
Oh,
I wish I did.
That is
You would've
exactly
shaved
what
it up.
happened. Yeah, I don't know if it's. I guess let me ask. I don't know if this would really have an impact on Kaporin, but kind of attached to one of the first question Val asked me. Nor we are the more nature in tuned members of the group. Did Nori think anything when she turned the corner and all of a sudden Amric is just made of metal?
She doesn't super know what happened. But she wouldn't be against it if that's what you mean. She would be happy that you're not undead anymore, and if you're happy in this form, she's happy for you.
I wish I still had dancing lights.
No issues, I guess.
He is not going to be your disco ball.
Emmerich does have a light cantrip, doesn't he?
I do.
Oh wait, if he wears the necklace now, he becomes a flashlight.
No.
If he wears, aww,
He is not.
the light cantrip.
No.
That'd be hilarious.
I'm going to end that now.
Aw. That doesn't really affect. But to your question, Amric, it doesn't really affect Kaporin. He's like, Bella's involved. You're silver now, so probably has to do with something she's done. And he wholeheartedly believes that whatever Bella does is either the right answer or the better answer to whatever problem he's dealing with. So
A situation was like, that looks really cool. Is he happy with it? Okay, he's not. Then okay, let's see if he can try to fix it. If he is happy with it, hell yeah, you look great, buddy.
I will say that because of when it happened and how long Bella had been gone, if she couldn't have gotten to, like, if you had gone further into the town and she couldn't have gotten to you in the next 5 to 10 minutes, she would not have been able to turn you. Hence why she was, like, moving like a race car, trying to get to him.
Glad I saw him and could point her in the right direction.
I wonder if she didn't want to deal with my bullshit right there.
Yeah. And she didn't know what sort of time frame she was on, so she was just like, I need to get to him now. She's got a decently high intelligence. She put 4 and 5 together when she lifted it up, saw Polly's hammer sitting there, and a lot of blood, and then went past Kaporin just with chunks of flesh, gray flesh with tattoos on it in his cloak. She's like, all right, it happened. Like, I need to go. But yeah, it's an interesting scenario all around. So, my question goes to all three of you. We will do it in alphabetical order as far as responses. You guys all got a glimpse of, or at least you heard me say what Bryn got a glimpse of in this town. You are all now in the town. You see what's around you. Obviously, Polly's still missing. Bryn's having something happen to her, and Nori's dealing with it. And Kaporin has just pulled up to the group. So everyone's relatively here. What do you think the group's next step is going to be? And what would you like the next step to be? Those are two very different answers.
I suppose first, I assume our next step is getting the fuck out of here. Because regardless of what happened with the town, I now feel like once we find Polly, this location is now emotionally charged for a few of us. As far as what I would like it to be, I definitely think the group now needs to have another sit-down talk of what the fuck is going on and what is next.
Someone needs to cast Zone of Truth and just sweatshop.
No, it's leaving this till everything's on the table.
I don't even know what Amric is gonna do.
You really want to deal with Kaporin's demons like that? No, thank
No.
you. Kaporin's gonna be on the edge of the zone of truth, and he's just like in and out.
But at this point, it might be at least less harmful to just put it out there than however we're dealing with things now.
Kaporin?
Kaporin's sick of this town. He's
Spent
covered in
all of
blood.
like 5 minutes in here.
Yeah,
This
and
town has
all
done
of 5
absolutely nothing to you guys.
in all of the 5 minutes I've kicked, or all of the time he's been here, he's kicked a skull, too many dead bodies, red flags all around. He's covered in blood of one of his party members.
Again, not the town's fault.
That was self-inflicted.
He didn't know what to do with the flesh. He was just like, maybe we have to put it back together to fix him. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall.
Don't worry, the girls are covered in blood too.
It's the goriest jigsaw puzzle ever.
Oh, well, wonderful. And on top of that, he was told 3 things. Stay with Nori, don't fuck up, and then don't touch the hammer. And he was just like, all 3 of those things went away. And we're just like, he has no formality. But for this town specifically, with the meta knowledge of what Bryn's seen, it sounds interesting to investigate. Do I really want to deal with a red sky? Or the bodies here without knowing more information of why they just all of a sudden died in the positions they were in? No. Hell no. And now that he clearly remembers what the riddle said, he's more than happy to just go, get the fuck out of here, we're heading south.
Nori?
So, all the red flags here, as Kaporin said, are so big they could be blankets. Nori, like I said, she can't super think past the right now. She is taking things one step at a time. Like, I can take care of this one thing for Bryn. Next step is I want to get out of here. I'm gonna preface this that you guys are all my friends. I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at any of you, IRL. You guys are great. No issues there. Nori's fucking pissed at Polly. because he said, sorry, Amric's undead. Says sorry, bolts. Amric's full undead. Amric bolts after him. Nori's thought is like, he fucking did something. He fucking did something again. God damn it. So she's not thrilled and might just, I don't think she'll go off on him. It might just be silence. I haven't decided yet. But out of the town is number one priority. Future stuff, that part of brain, not unlocked. Try again. You gotta pay for the subscription.
All right. I think I've paid enough by now, but that's fine. Okay. What? Obviously, though I've joked about this, I have made this also blatantly clear that even though it is a joke, it is also the truth. When you guys leave this town is gone.
I know.
There is no more reoccurring island. Things that could be found, obviously for some stuff, like ruins and things like that, could be things to be found. So you could come back to this town and possibly find some stuff. But things of note in nature in here will disappear when you guys are done, because I just don't have to keep it in my notes. So it just becomes someone else comes through here, does the thing and gets the thing, or does the thing and undoes the thing, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, from a player perspective, and definitely at least a little bit to a character perspective too. I would love to stay here, because I really personally don't see the red flags as much, because with the way that those are, I feel like if those red flags were still nearly as active, we would all already be dead.
Fair point.
You were undead for a moment.
Yes, Gaborn. Ha ha. But
It was like a minute and a half.
And I've been dead twice in the time of a day.
Dad jokes are abound. Yes.
I'm not a father yet.
No,
That you know.
but I also Amric will probably argue for it for a little bit, but with everything that just happened, it's not the hill that he's going to die on. And if the rest of the if the rest of the party wants to leave, then we're probably going to leave.
Understand.
Yeah, and I don't see myself winning that fight.
Not a problem.
I do want to see the cool shit in here. I just
Nori, do you now know what the red herring was?
in regards to
Last session, I dropped a red herring for you specifically because you asked for it.
you're gonna have to remind me what you asked me for.
No, you asked me. You wanted to see on the route to the town if there were markings for any recent life, and I said yes, there was some cart marks here that are not but 2 weeks old, if anything.
Yeah, and then you said that it looked like things had been raided for Polly, so I'm imagining that someone came through here and stole a bunch of shit.
What else is on a
As
2-week
well,
timeline?
2 weeks. Yep.
Yep.
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
I thought at first you were going to catch that and be like, shit.
Yeah, I just took a little bit.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. No.
I got there eventually.
No. But yeah.
You're
Definitely
gonna have to
seems-
help the rest of us that are less mentally inclined.
No,
Do
let him suffer. Let him suffer. Hold on.
the tree was killed 2 weeks ago.
This
One that they
whole
buried.
elaborate riddle treasure hunt is not but a little over 2 weeks old now. So probably whoever set all this up also made a stop at this town.
Yeah, I really hope nobody put that together.
No, she's dealing with her wife going mentally
No,
insane.
right now, no, she did. In the moment.
I would.
Well, that sure sounds like a great idea. Let's hide the last skeleton.
Amongst a bunch of skeletons.
Oh no! What was
investigation of each skeleton. Does
We
this
have to hold it
belong to
up?
you?
Just the chest to all the skeletons. Just like, what is it gonna open up to? What is it gonna open up to? I would give Nori the chance, if you guys, especially if you leave the same way you guys came, of rechecking the road as you guys left to give you a chance to put things together.
Yeah, and then we all turn around like, fuck, there's probably things in there, and then go through yada yada yada.
But I will say that the riddle that you were given does not talk about this town. That doesn't mean that something may or may not be here that could give you insight into who is doing all this. Maybe they just camped out in this town for the night. It could be a whole, the town could be a treasure trove of information, not only for what you guys are currently on, but in general. But that is up for you guys to put it together or possibly move further.
Yeah. I have a question for Kaparin. You keep getting bullied over and over again by pretty much everyone. How's he holding up?
As Sasquatch comes into the chat and says "Kill Corp."
Yeah, where the hell? Okay, first of all,
I did
no,
write it in my
Sassy.
notes.
Second of all, he's not in the best position right now with everyone. He's currently doing this quest in order to fulfill a promise that he made to a friend. Or to what he thinks is a friend. If Luke's not a friend, I don't know what happens after that. But
He considers you a friend too.
So he feels obligated to at least keep trying. Because he made a promise, and that's like something very important to him. But he's very much beaten up, emotionally. When we got out of the ruins, he was on the verge of just saying fuck everything, and he really just wanted to disappear until he looked at the blanket and realized that the answer was he was right. His answer was correct, and he wasn't just putting people through the dangerous rigmarole of I almost got everyone killed again. So he's definitely gone back and forth between like, I'm scared of hurting people, but I have a promise to fulfill. And if it wasn't for like the obvious like, oh, we did something correctly, I don't feel so bad, but at the same time I'm still sad that I hurt them. He's definitely he's bruised a lot. He's definitely that apple that rolled away and is currently not usable for anything. But
It's like I feel awful. Like now, like every time you get like bullied by everyone, I don't know what to do because Amric, it's gotten to the point where it's like, this is excessive. This is excessive. I get being frustrated, but come on. But Nori doesn't have the emotional energy to
your mirror show it, yeah.
To deal with all of this. She's got about 87 things to worry about. You're on that list. She's trying to get to it. It's not working.
I took a number, don't worry.
That's why Nori's been like, can you stop? To whenever everyone's kind of doing that to Kaparin. I feel so bad.
Think that we really are. We're a bunch of probably not the best amalgamations of personalities, and Kaparin is very much the most convenient punching bag.
Kaparin is, in my eyes, as the person looking down. Kaporin is that one friend in the group that everyone makes fun of, but that friend knows that he needs to be the one everyone makes fun of because everyone else is dealing with so much shit on the inside and no one wants to talk about it, that this is the one thing everyone's sort of camaraderieing on. And so he'll sort of just swallow it, laugh along, and when they can, he's going to take a long vacation as well.
Yeah.
He's definitely heard everyone's cries of him to stop doing certain things. But those certain things are what essentially resets everyone to be focused back on a target goal. And
Unless it's a beholder. That's a different story.
yes, unless it's a beholder, then he's like, I didn't mean to do that. But he knows that he's an emotional punching bag, and he's happy as long as everyone sticks together. So he'll continue to do what he needs to in order to pull things together.
There's a day where people get yelled at, but it's not today.
Warren will definitely have that day where he's just like, none of it was my fault while we were traveling. And he'll make sure that everyone understands that.
It's like,
There are
yes,
certain things.
you've done some things, but we've all done some things, and none of us are getting this shit.
I was going to say, well, Polly's about to get a lot of shit.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I was going to say, how does Kaporin feel when finally something is obviously not his
Yes,
fault?
yes.
You mean like
just
Nori
gets to
going
wake
into the
up to
dungeon
fucking-
before everyone?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, she'll
I
own
get
that
yelled
one.
at for that.
But
But,
it was still Kaporin's fault because he ended up getting to this island.
yeah, no, people will always justify it back down and away from themselves. But, how does Kaporin feel with something that is drastic and wild and out of nowhere left field, and it's not your fault, not even connected to you in any shape, way, or form? You didn't exacerbate the situation, you didn't make it better or worse, you completely were out of the entire thing until it was over. How does Kaporin feel about that?
You mean like right now?
Well, obviously right now he's looking for Polly, and he's just like, why? But at least, put Kaporin's mind, say you guys get away from the town and you have your long rest, and Kaporin's on watch, sort of rethinking the scenario.
The second that it's a little time bomb. He's gonna go off and he's going to just disappear.
It's not
what
my fault!
if it ends up in the middle of the forest and it happens, or he tells Bella that some things have to go on and that they needed to happen right now, then it will happen. But
Do you have a way to secretly teleport away?
I carry a bunch of random shit on me. I'm the Rachaw. I'm the next version of Rachaw, that carries random shit on me.
You just don't have a bag of holding.
I just don't have a bag of holding, so I carry all my shit on me personally. There's not an active way for me to just disappear, I can tell you that. But there are ways for me to disappear. There's a phone call I could make and I just disappear. So it's like, push enough buttons and you're gonna hit the right one.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying, how does Kaporin feel when this situation that happened and caused so much chaos, you're just like...
It's finally not your fault.
It's finally not your fault. You get to go back and be like, oh, thank God.
But then he just falls back into the shadows. He's like, I'm not here. I'm a ghost. He's just like, Ollie,
One's gonna
have
turn
fun.
to the fly on the wall and just watch Ollie get destroyed.
Just
Literally,
popcorn.
like boots of flying just sticks to the wall, and he's just like, oh, this is entertaining. I'm so glad.
Just to see it from the other side for once.
Yeah.
He's all like, "Thank you. I needed a day off from my job." It's like I don't get paid enough. I don't get paid at all to deal with everyone's emotional damage, and that is brought upon myself. But thank you. I enjoy the day off.
So, let me ask a question for all three of you guys again. Polly. Polly is his own worst enemy. Literally. As you guys have got to see when he had the Lantern revealing out. I'm not talking about that specifically, but emotionally for Polly himself, he gets in his own way more often than not. Whether it's knowingly doing something stupid or, pushing things he needs to take care of further down and away, or making a brash decision with the best intentions. With Polly have disappeared now, and at least for sure, Amric knows why. Nori has a pretty good understanding of why. And I'm sure that's going to get probably passed around the group here almost immediately when people start asking, where's Polly?
Bryn knows.
Yeah. Obviously, Polly has done stuff in the past, the divine interventions and things like that have fucked up shit that's going on, but ultimately were either fixable or were seemingly ends up being beneficial. This is a giant case of that. Where initially it was, oh my god, what the fuck did you do? And now it's like, oh, the undead thing's taken care of.
And this new thing's kind of cool.
But knowing Polly, and especially that Polly is currently cowering somewhere inside one of these buildings, with everything that you guys know of Polly and what he's going on with internally with his family and emotions and, how he takes things, what do you guys think Polly's going to want to do next?
He's been saying up, down, left, and right, I want to go home.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. I think he's probably gonna want to go home. Although, personally, I'm not particularly sure if Amber cares what Polly wants at the moment.
Understandable.
Because definitely from an Amber perspective, the way that he kind of sees it is Polly has really shitty impulse control. Because every time he makes one of these decisions where he doesn't talk
There's
to
no
anybody about it,
patience.
there's no patience. Something really fucking bad happens. Because I know we've given him shit in the past. But Amric doesn't really hold like the divine interventions against him or anything. Like when it led to the timey-wimey stuff, nothing that other people in the group haven't caused before or done before. As far as the events that led to the temple, yes, could he avoided it better? But
To be fair, it's probably going to happen regardless, since it was part of the prophecy.
yeah, it's not something that really could have changed. But the big other time he did something like this, he cast the spell on Lila, and he almost got himself and Bryn killed. He got himself exiled. And then to this time, especially because in character, he said he had a point, which tells Amric that he knew he was doing something that was really stupid. And he did it anyway. And even if it led to this beneficial thing, it could have very, very easily gone the other way if Bella hadn't pulled his ass out of the fire.
Call them Caporan. That's a bad name to my name.
You don't. Well, Coparan doesn't even always pull Coparans. Coparan's just the name for the thing. It's a bad decision that you know is a bad decision, It's a decision that you know is a bad decision, and you're fairly certain it's going to go real south real fast, but you do it anyway.
You know, the consequences are... The percentage chance of the consequences are negative over positive favor the negative heavily. But there's that chance that it's positive.
Yeah.
Yay. But yeah, I think
Gambler's
Polly's gonna-
dilemma.
Warren is a gambler.
But it definitely puts him in this place where Polly, I don't want to say doesn't get a vote, but he definitely has, like, everything's going to have to go through the party, I feel like, because every time he goes on his own, he makes these rash decisions.
You need to submit paperwork.
Yeah.
You need to...
We're
It's
going
like-
to bureaucracy.
It's
Like the
Ikea all
road to
over
hell
again.
is paved with good intentions type of thing.
Mhm.
Like,
Yep.
you're getting a buddy. We're going to the buddy system, and you're not allowed to leave your buddy, or sleep without your buddy, or be awake without your buddy. It's Warren knows that Polly at any moment could just disappear.
Mhm. He's
On
the only
his
one in the
own.
group that has that solid ability to continuously do it, even though Amric does have the tablet.
And there's just stuff going on that he knows that he's worried about, and he will, Warren as himself, will try to mitigate as much fuckery as he can, but he can't always be there.
Mhm.
Like, Kaporan will try to somehow turn everything around and take everyone's pressure off. Of course, as he always does. But he can't stop or protect Polly in this case, and it's hard. So
Yeah.
There's definitely a lack of trust on Nori's part, because even with Koperin, she's known him for years. She knows he cares about her genuinely. Bryn is her wife. She trusts Amric, because for
Future buddy.
a lot of different reasons. But then Polly, who's in her mind consistently foregone patience for a situation that could be solved, it's just going to take a bit. And then that's gone super, super south. She's sick of it. Like, even her mind, even Koperin has more patience than you. And that's a sad sentence.
It's not that Koperin has more patience.
Yeah.
Is that if someone tells Koperin no, he'll be like, fine, and we'll sit and wait. Where if someone goes, Polly, no, Polly's gonna be like, and then do it.
I'm older than all of you. You
Yeah.
guys are kids. And it's like,
Yeah, I feel like
Okay.
there's also a perception of no trust in both directions. Like, with the Lila thing, okay, but especially in this scenario where he waited till we were all asleep.
yeah,
do
he
his
did it when
thing.
we were sleeping.
Yeah, like I feel like there's
That's why I said, even I was like, oh, fuck.
there's a universe where that decision could have gone okay.
Everyone
If we
just
were all
prepped and
awake
ready in
and
case
we're
some
ready.
shit went down.
Yeah, and instead he did it the way he did.
But,
He
I
isn't-
mean, he's staying true to character. That is when Polly has always done these decisions.
Oh yeah, it's perfectly in character. It's, no complaints on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no bueno.
I'm just surprised that it's taken up until now for everyone to realize that if Polly's gonna do something stupid, it's gonna be alone and most likely on watch. This is like the 4th time he's done it. It's just the other times he divine interventioned, he'd failed. And he just didn't tell anyone that he was trying to have something happen. So
Oh, has he done divine interventions multiple times?
yeah, he's openly to you guys, and he just
Oh.
failed. He just didn't get anything that happened.
Yeah, he does it quite often.
So, yeah, I have been waiting for the moment where something goes so horribly wrong that you guys realize, you know what? Maybe him alone on watch isn't a good idea anymore. and we just finally have gotten to that point. It's like, because as Polly has said in multiple RFIs and in sessions, like, even though Polly is technically older, he's still a child in regards to the dwarven age lineage and everything like that. He hadn't, he didn't have the harsh grow up like Nori did, to sort of offset some of the age stuff. And even though Kaporan went through a sketchy childhood, he was still pretty much taken care of, but had to deal with some shit. Polly was like, I'm in a happy family. Like,
yeah, he had a loving family, and then Nori's off there. It's like, I was completely abandoned.
yeah, and Kaporan's like, my mom's a whore. So, like, there was some learning on your guys' end of how the world works pretty early on, whereas Polly, it was, he went through school, he did everything. So he is very much the son that lives in parents' basement, just fresh out, like, because they told him he needs to go get a job type of kid. And he just reacts to everything emotionally. There's no forethought to anything, and he's done that from the get-go, and he's always played that way. And as soon as Otis became a thing, like, his mind has been split between trying to help you guys out of some either form of loyalty or feeling of owing you guys. But his mind, like he said, the first thing he wants to do is go back home and have you guys help him with Otis. Like, his mind is strictly on, I want to get back home, fix Otis, and then fuck off for the rest of my life. Like,
And the fact that he assumes that will help him.
yeah. Well, Bryn has said openly that she would.
Yeah, Bryn, I feel like Bryn is like, yeah, I'll help. Nori won't. She's flat out. She's not.
I ain't doing dimension hopping.
Nope, I'm done.
Yeah, so it's very much you guys are finally, as characters, realizing that, you know what, Kaporan's Kaporan, but Kaporan's in front of everyone, which makes it
Kaporan's responsibility.
which makes it more of a questionable decision that he'll do it openly in front of everyone. But at least it's when we're all awake.
Yeah, I feel like
Polly Kaporan's in the dark.
yeah, Kaporan, it definitely is very consistent with his Kaporans. It's like, sure, there's highs and lows, but they're still rather middling because they're constant. Polly has like 9.7 magnitude Kaporans that only happen once a month.
All or nothing.
Yeah. It's either a 1.6 where you don't feel it, or it's fucking taking out towns.
It has taken out towns.
But yeah, no, Kaporan, when he's doing his Kaporan thing, and you guys like lose Kaporan for a moment, you're like, oh shit, where's Kaporan? You know he's doing something. But Polly will be like, no, everybody get some sleep. I'll take the first watch. All right, cool. And I'll make breakfast for everyone too. Oh, sweet, awesome, thank you. Giving you that big brother, like, taking care of everyone vibe. And then he's like, I wonder if I put 6969 in the nuke codes, if it's going to go off or not. And then fucking does it.
He's all like, if I just turn the knob on the bomb far enough, will it explode or just break? It's
button's in a different language. Should I touch it? The answer is yes.
I have comprehend languages. There's a solution.
You're sleeping. Shh.
Wake me up.
I don't want to bother you and waste a spell slot. It's fine.
And that's the frustrating part, because especially for a lot of us, because it's like, we can help. Let us help. Even if the solution is not clear, there's a solution somewhere. Someone had to put in a reason or a rhyme to doing things. Unless they're Kaporan, then it's a little different.
I think that half of the reason why Polly doesn't ask for help for anything is because he knows he's going to eventually ask everyone for help, especially with the Otis thing. And he doesn't want to feel like he's burnt that crying
he,
wolf.
he,
Or...
he just burnt the bridge, so I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that was dynamite, not fire.
uh, he set it on fire, and then the
We fell into the canyon of
6969
spiders.
nuke launch code you talked about,
Yeah.
that's what got thrown on that bridge.
He was like watching the fire and was like, "That's pretty." Ooh, dynamite.
6969.
Yeah, so I'm not looking forward to that conversation, but it's gonna happen in the next day or so. If we decide to investigate this,
Honestly, the person that has the
Onyar?
best chance at finding Polly right now is Nori, but Nori's not going to leave Bryn's side. So.
No. I don't want to find him. Are you kidding me? You can stay here for all like.
Yeah,
Your hammer's
do
still
not have-
outside. Just fucking.
I don't have locate object prepared, so I can't find him.
Yep.
Porn's gonna do it the old-fashioned way of just going in and out of buildings until he fucking finds the person.
Brute force it.
How did that work with Dungeon Layer 3?
Poorly.
Right wall strats for the win. Around the same building over and over again.
Until there was a beholder.
Yeah, until there's a beholder. I mean, we're gonna figure out what happened to these people one way or another.
Kapora's gonna
And-
find out.
Or another. It's gonna find us.
But if it comes down to like Kaporn has to go in and out of every goddamn building or start playing the loot so that everyone gets so frustrated that Polly comes running out to tell him to shut up, that's a solution. And Kaporn
Just
will
play
take that
one of
solution.
play one of the dwarven songs that you've learned.
Horribly.
But yeah, fuck it up constantly. So he just comes out, just start fucking singing it wrong. But yeah.
We've noticed Polly's patience isn't that great, so Kaporn
There's no
has
such thing.
solution.
No.
Yeah.
Polly and patience do not belong in the same sentence unless there's a no there.
But Kaporn has his ways.
I believe in you, mostly.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah. I don't know if we answered all of Bryn.
Let's see.
No, except the Polly one. What the fuck happened in the damn town? I did not appreciate that vision.
Oh yeah, you guys are gonna have to figure that one out.
Okay.
Um,
I had a lot of questions for Polly, but the poor man is sick, so
yeah, it's okay.
those will have to.
Oh, what the fuck was that puzzle? Why did she have to go digging all of them? What was the point of that thing?
All of it was figure outable. I gave you guys the answer to the first puzzle, or the first. Actually, I've given you guys the answer to all of the puzzles so far, so I'll leave one for anonymity and curiousness to eat away at you from the inside out.
It won't eat away at me. I thought it was funny that that we had the badgers.
Yeah,
Chitter.
I'm good. I was asleep for that whole puzzle, so I don't even remember what it was.
Oh, you're
Does Amric
chittering
secret-
away.
I woke up
Amric-
enough to chitter at Nori. And that was it.
Yeah.
Does
It
Amric
was,
have a soft spot for Nori all of a sudden in his heart?
Just Badger Nori.
just badger. Exclusively badger.
Nori turns
But
into
he
a
has to
badger
be a
again in the
badger
future?
too.
Real Nori is middling. Badger Nori is where it's at.
Badger Nori cap. It's just straight fire.
Oh no, he has to live with that.
I can't wait until we find like where there's badgers that like just wildly roam, and Emmerich gonna be like, nice.
No, there's only one badger for Emmerich.
Until he gets there, and then he sees the other badger, and like, damn, even Badger Nori's middling. God.
Ow.
There's only one girl that loves you.
That's
Porn loves
mean.
her as a sister.
Do you think you try to make yourself look like a cute badger when you change it to... It's
No.
very much a more method over...
Oh no, Nori doesn't give a fuck when she's
Exactly.
an animal.
And even
Next
though
time-
you are a druid and you are in tune with nature, do you even know what badgers would find cute?
No, she wouldn't have like acknowledged. She wouldn't be like, "I'm gonna find that out." No,
She's
I'm
like,
not
I'm
that
a-
kind
I'm
of
a
druid.
talkative animal.
Jeez.
So tell me, what do you look for in a badger? Well, you see her claws. Her claws have to be.
Yeah,
Ooh, and then her snout. Ooh, don't even get me started.
No, we're gonna find that kind of druid in this world where they're just like, I want to be that kind of druid, and we're just gonna be like,
I
You
feel like that's
matchmaker
the
druid.
moon druid ones.
Matchmaker druid. Just totally there to make sure no species go extinct.
Yeah, the world ends. They're like gathering them all.
The Noah's
They
Ark
perform
of
them-
druids.
yeah.
Exactly.
If it is a druid and it does do that, they have to be Noah. They have to name themselves Noah,
Oh no.
and I will approve of it.
But
As a
it's
Noah?
gotta be spelled awful in fantasy. Like there's an umlau in there for some reason. It doesn't
I'll put a
pronounce the
K in it
same.
somewhere. Don't worry.
There's a K, yeah.
Yeah.
It's silent though. There's
Yeah,
like
like
the
me.
OUX that's not like in French that's not pronounced.
Yeah. And unfortunately, Bryn, I can't tell you what's going to happen with your new fractured mind state.
Oh,
But it doesn't feel any different. And there's no physical, at least for everybody else, there's no physical representation that anything's changed. The biggest thing being that Nori was able to witness Bryn going through her shit at that time. But that's
And it's interesting to me because it's like, it gets worse when you're alone. If she's with Nori's passive perception is so high that if she doesn't see a thing, it's probably not there.
yeah.
I just had this thought in my mind. Nori needs to just become an emotional support animal.
She wants to, but she's afraid of turning one of you guys into it, so she's not. There have been multiple instances where she's wanted to
I mean,
turn into
that might work for Bryn.
But there's like seizures, like animals that like can tell when they're about to have an episode.
Oh, they can smell
I feel
it?
like- Yeah, I feel like Nori's gonna be that for Bryn.
Yeah, this sounds like the perfect opportunity to just wild shape into puppies.
And just Bryn and Nori puppy playtime as they just
Aww,
fight and chase each other.
that's adorable.
If that helps, then so be it. We'll put up a little pen for them so they don't run off.
Make Bryn so that way the only thing she has to worry about for 20 minutes is where to pee. And what's that thing chasing me? Oh, that's my tail. To answer one of Polly's questions is what happened to the town directly linked to the fluctuations in magic right now. That would require a little bit more investigation, but with looking at how old a lot of this stuff is, it's probably a good guess that it's not. Because the magic fluctuation stuff is relatively new, and like I said, all the bodies here are bone. There is, and a lot of the wood structures and everything, doors, windows, curtains, and everything, all of that is decayed, destroyed, or tatters left. So, let's see, any other questions that have been answered yet?
Don't think so.
Why is Spectral Polly attacking Real Polly? Well, Polly's his own worst enemy, so that makes sense.
Mhm.
And it's also one of his chains, so he needs to sort of figure out what all that means.
He needs to address his many traumas.
Something that's dragging him down or dragging him in. Literally dragging him in.
Other than that, I don't see anything. So, is there anything else on you guys' minds?
Can we still get a long rest with all the
No.
drama that we've?
No,
Oh, it hadn't even. I'd say you guys can get a short rest. Everyone but Kaporin,
the one guy who would need a short rest to
'Cause-
do anything.
because he took the first watch.
On that note, since I've gone through several changes,
Mm-hmm.
do I get a full reset?
You have what is akin to a long rest, but you still do have the that soul bit that is missing, so your HP is still reduced.
Copy. Did I already do that with a level 9?
That's Ella if she knows
Well,
what that's
I
about.
do not need 109 temp HP, as nice as that would be.
I think 109 is my max HP when I'm not full rushed right now.
Oh, does that HP adjustment? Because I went up some max HP because my con modifier went up.
Yeah, it'd just be the same deduction of your max HP. So I think yours was because I know Kaporan's was heavier.
I was at 109, which would make my new thing plus 12,
121.
121, yeah.
I had 10 points taken away.
Okay,
You
okay.
guys got all the really interesting stuff. I just got attacked.
I stuck my arm into a hole and died.
That's what happens when you have 6 people going in different directions at once, or 5 people going in different directions at once, where it was just you going, ah!
And a bunch of werewolves.
Yeah, and you hiding in a bush.
That was fun.
All right. So, if you guys have any other questions, feel free to message me. I'll get back to them as soon as I can. Thanks for hanging out with me, Polly. Hope you feel better and get better soon. As we had talked about at the end of last session, it looks like probably the last week of February. We're going to go back to Mondays and Thursdays. So it should be fun. Other than that, thanks for coming through, asking questions, and hanging out. And you guys have a good night.
Everyone have a good night. Polly, I'm gonna find you and I'm gonna punch you. But everyone else, have a good night.
All right, night.
Remember, kids, don't do Kaporans.
Definitely. Good night, guys.
Bye.